Hello, I'm David Uy, Executive Director of the Chinese American Museum, DC. We're the first and only museum in our nation's capital dedicated to the Chinese American story. Today, we are hosting a hybrid event, both live, in person, and virtual, as a tour of the exhibit Golden Threads, Chinese Opera in America. This is a bittersweet moment for us because this marks the end of this terrific installation. And hopefully you've had a chance to see this exhibit in person or participate in some of our previous online events. I don't know about you, but I've really learned a lot in the last few months. Golden Threads, really has taught a lot about the nuances of Chinese opera, its origins, and also how influential and important it was in early 20th century Chinese American communities. And it also really has taught us how Chinese opera is really alive and well today, and there are numerous dedicated groups still performing and preserving this art form all across the country. So one of those people that is accomplishing that is our friend Louisa Huang. She's president of the Washington, D.C. Beauty of Beijing Opera, and she will lead the tour today and tell you more about Chinese opera's costumes, techniques, and history. So the costumes today that you see are shown courtesy of Dr. Marilyn Pao and Dr. William and Victoria Chu Pao. So without further ado, I hand the reins over to Louisa Huang.
Thank you very much, David, for having me here. Hello, everyone. Yes, here in the gallery and also online. Happy Lunar New Year of the Tiger. 春节快乐，虎年大吉. According to Chinese tradition, the Spring Festival is never one day, it's 15 days. So today is the 11th day. We're still in the zone of New Year celebration. So that's why I say Happy New Year to all of you. And welcome to the special exhibits of the CAMDC Beijing Opera costumes, as you will see today. Let me first tell you a story. 1,000 years ago, in the China's Song dynasty, Princess Chai fell in love with General Yang, who saved her life from the battlefield. However, because of her gender and because Princess Chai was a member from the royal family, the princess was culturally prohibited to express her feeling freely and was subjected to arranged marriage. Nonetheless, just like Cinderella's crystal slippers, the princess was determined to pursue her personal happiness despite of all the social barriers. She granted her pearl shirt to the general, and as a token of his heroic action, and also asked him to present the pearl shirt to the emperor, indicating that the general was chosen as her royal husband in the future. Later, the help of the best scholar of the country, Zhuang Yuan, and also with the princess' own wisdom and persistence, the two lovebirds got married in the end happily. 1,000 years later, a modern Chinese girl realized her dream of being a princess through performing Princess Chai's legend on the Beijing Opera stage. The Beijing Opera costumes was designed to incorporate cultural elements to the extent possible. So the audience will recognize the character's identity immediately when she or he appear on stage. Look at this one. The character wears a crown with phoenix figures, which could only be worn by high-ranking female members from a royal family. Look at her dress. Her dress color is bright yellow and red, indicating her noble status and auspicious feature of the story. And look at her hands. She wears long water sleeves cover her hands, with only her tips exposing gracefully like a blooming magnolia, indicating her feminine identity and also noble, elegant character. So who is she? This modern Chinese girl is me, Louisa Huang. Do you recognize me? Ancient China was known as a land of impeccable attire. Clothing has long been a sign of personal significance throughout the cultures of the whole world. And people from ancient China turned this precept into exacting art. From as early as Zhou period dynasty, which is 1100 BC, Chinese people believed that the personal clothing and adornment were the very significant sign of being, whether you are civilized or kind of educated, something like that. And developing through the rest of the Chinese history, the clothing differentiation distinguish one's status, rank, and also position in the society through the assignment of embroidered symbols, significant colors, and also specific garments. Traditional theater, such as Beijing opera, developed in this kind of rank and clothing conscious context. It obviously adopted a design language that focus on clothing for the identity of character. So today's exhibition, you will see about 4 principal categories of Beijing opera costumes, most of which were from collection of Miss Victoria Chu. The picture is here. Victoria was a Beijing opera actress featuring vivacious female character role, or Hua Dan. She was born in 1917 in Shanghai, China, bettered her study in Beijing later, and mainly performed professionally in Taiwan in the last century. Look at her. This is one of the famous Beijing opera classics, 得意园, very happy matrimony. And because this character, her identity is a daughter of a bandit leader. So because of her relatively low social status, this character wears jacket instead of water sleeves. And she has a long skirt to cover her feet. But she has a very narrow cuff and no water sleeve because she has to work very hard for that. So that's the major difference between whether you have a jacket and also a skirt, a tune, and a water sleeve 水袖. Okay, let's move. I'm going to give you a little bit of history about Beijing opera so you understand what I'm talking about. So during this period, just feel free to spread, and because I believe I'm loud enough for you to hear what I'm going to talk about. So let me give you a little bit of background about Beijing opera. Beijing opera was the combination of various theater forms that were prevailing in the long history of China. As a UNESCO listed culture, intangible cultural heritage of humanity, Beijing opera came into being in the late 18th century, the same period when the United States of America acquired its independence. When when the Emperor Qianlong of China's Qing dynasty celebrated his 80th birthday, a performing troupe sponsored by Anhui merchants or Huiban from the eastern China came to the nation's capital city of Beijing and to perform and pay tribute to the emperor. That marked the official recognition of Beijing opera, this beautiful and fresh art form. And guess what? That was around the same year that General George Washington became the first president of the United States. I am sure you're very familiar with US history and good and bad. So I will leave it to you to figure out the age of Beijing opera. And Louisa may ask our online clients, how old is Beijing opera now from Q&A? At the beginning, Beijing opera was mainly a male pursuit because of all the character types, because women's social status was universally low. This situation started to change at the beginning of the 20th century. Dr. Meilan Fang's portrait was here, was widely recognized as a Beijing opera icon by professional circles and audiences of several generations. He successfully portrayed many unforgettable female characters on the Beijing opera stage, such as this one, 天女散花, heavenly fairy scatter petals to the mankind to test the readiness of Buddhist novices. And she designed this costume himself, which was inspired by traditional Chinese painting and also the Mogao fresco along the very famous Silk Road. Dr. Meilan Fang was also the person who opened the doors for the Westerners to appreciate Beijing opera. For example, in the 1930s, Dr. Meilan Fang came to the US to perform in the New York City. His performance was such a great success that the venue had to be changed from the 49th Street Theater to a much larger national theater. And his tour was extended from 2 weeks to 5 weeks. In the rest of the 20th century, Beijing opera continued to interact with the Western culture. For example, Yves Saint Laurent, which is was a very famous French fashion icon and designer, adapted the Beijing opera costume patterns in his own design work, in particular in the 1970s and 80s expo. Professor Elizabeth Wichman from the University of Hawaii had 3 times led the production of English language Beijing opera plays and has won critical acclaim. So what has made the Beijing opera so fascinating to people from different nationalities and with different ethnic origin? Today, you're going to see some examples, a tip of the iceberg, which is the costumes. Because in Beijing opera, it is this is an art form with a focus on actor. And of course, when actors and actresses has costumes on them, costumes become the foremost visual aspect. So let's look at some example. This one here, we can switch to this one. This red one, you can come close, no problem. Yeah. So this red garment is called Mang, court robe. It is the most prestigious garment in the Beijing Opera costume compendium. You see, it consists of 10 medallions of dragon figures surrounded by a landscape with mountain, standing water, and auspicious features. And Mang is usually worn by court officials, senior court officials. It's either imperial court or legal court. And also by army commandants and also imperial relatives. And it's when you wear it, you have a looped jade belt. And also here, it is wear together with high sole, high top boots like this, because your social status is determined by how high your sole is. So this is one thing. This is called Mang. And Mang, we have court robe, we have different colors. Later, I will going to show you an example. This is called Kao, armor, the second major principal categories in the Beijing opera. This one is mainly for civil play, and this one is for the battlefield. How do I know that? Because you know, you have the helmet with 7 diadem. And you have the 4 pennants attaching to the costumes. That's a sign of authority, okay? Whenever I want the army commandant want to give an order to a soldier, you do this and do that. He or she will give a kind of a flag, a sign of authority. And this one is for female. How do I know that? Because in this, the padded belt, you see the peacock figures, you see the flower figures, and also it is has around the waist section, it has 2 layers of multicolored streamers. So when she moves around, when the actor or actress move around on the stage, like a merry-go-round, this is because the Beijing Opera emphasized the beauty of everything. This costume among armors usually consists of over 30 pieces, because the Beijing Opera focused on singing, recitation, dancing, and combat. So because of its root in dance about 5,000 years ago, almost all the costumes were designed to emphasize and to facilitate the movement on stage. And here you'll see that this is pink color. It indicates that this is a young general. And also because of the flower image and the peacock, this is for female warriors. What if I want to have a costume for men, for males? Then perhaps you will change this one into a tiger's head, which is the year, this is the year of tiger, or the head of lion, or symbol of strength, like that. Okay, now let me give you an example so you know what I'm talking about. This is a Beijing Opera classics, Qin Xianglian. Qin Xianglian was a poor woman from in the ancient China. Unfortunately, she was abandoned by her husband, Chen Shimei, after the change of the social status. So the husband remarried to another person from the royal family, become the imperial son-in-law. So Qin Xianglian sued the current husband who lied. So in the court, you'll see that you have the black court robe, which is worn by Bao Gong, the judge. Black monk is an emblem for law enforcement with upright honesty. Okay. And this one, this imperial son-in-law, this liar, wears red monk because he still thinks he's somebody. He became the best scholar of the country. He married to, he has a new wife. He abandoned the family and the children. He thinks he's somebody. So he wear the most prestigious monk in the monk category. And also this one, it is the emperor nostalgia. The emperor from the royal family, they have their own color, which is bright yellow. So only the emperor nostalgia, and the emperor himself, and the relatives could wear this kind of color. So color differentiation give you a clue to distinguish who is and who. I still don't understand why she's here to support this liar. He's liar. And today is the 11th of the New Year's Day. Oh, okay. So when we are celebrating the New Year for the Spring Festival, each day has a theme. Today is the 11th day, and it happens to be the son-in-law's day. So in our culture, so if it's son-in-law's day, it's the time for the parents to entertain your son-in-law, so they will treat your daughters better for the whole year. So that is all. Okay, so that's about mom and cow. Okay, let's move to this section. Now here is called P. P means formal robe. It is worn by the same character, but in different settings. For example, it's not outside a very formal courtroom, outside of the battlefield. Almost all the characters will wear the P, which is formal for formal settings. And you can see the P has a simpler design. It has trapdoidal torso cut, and has a seamless shoulder, and it has a long water sleeve, and it has phoenix figures and dragon figures on that, and the neckband is finished with arabesque, clothing, and it has the same tie button on that. All these, this design is because not only because that we want to have these costumes be flexible to be used by everyone in the performing troupe, but also because that clothing was a very precious goods for consumers in ancient China. So all the tailors, they would not run the risk of cutting into smaller pieces and then mend it together. So they put them into one piece. And let me ask you a question. Who would this P be worn? Would this for a royal family or for a normal family or for lower status? What's your guess?
High.
Higher, okay. How high would that be?
High because she's got the really long sleeve.
Okay, it has long sleeves. It's for elegant female roles. So that's good. And here it's called informal robe. We call them shirts. The informal robe is was mostly worn in the informal settings in the daily life, and depending on whether it is silk made or cotton made or something like that, whether you have the embellishment, it can show the status of the character. For example, this one is it is in the lower color. So it has no decorations at all. This is for men. It has the cross clothing instead of central clothing for female. And this may indicate that this person is in poverty or in reduced circumstances. And this one could be used by a girl like all of you when you are having your teas with your girlfriends. So it's informal setting. It's not a daily, a formal office or you go to a classroom, so you don't do that. So this can also be used as an undergarment after before you put on the formal robe. We also have the central clothing here because in ancient China, it was believed that an elegant woman should not have your neck be shown to the strangers. So we always have this one up to the neck. Okay, so now I brought with me some water sleeves. I would like to show you why we have this kind of design. Because in ancient China, in the world of Beijing opera, the performance is not really only about singing, as I said. So it's unlike in the Western opera, it's not only about singing, it's about singing, dancing, and comeback, recitation and comeback. So I put a red formal robe on me, P on me, and this is my water sleeves. So the water sleeves are attached to the costume. Like beer, you touch the costume, you have helmet touch the costume to facilitate your, the expression, the building of the character. Why we have such an exaggerating, kind of a costume? This is because in the old days, you don't have a big screen that you can see me so closely. So I need to use water sleeves and other means to help convey the message of what the characters are doing on stage. For example, so I'm crying, so I'm going to do this. Like that, okay? So now I'm going to be very happy. So I'm going to do like this, right? And now I'm not going to be very happy. I'm upset with somebody, so I'm going to do like this. Okay, I would like to ask one of you to try one of the costume on. Who's going to volunteer? Okay. Let me show you. Okay. Very good. One of my favorite color. I'm going to put it on you. Okay, what I'm wearing is true red. What you're wearing is called, how to say, lotus roots red. Lotus root flower red. Okay, like this. So put it here. This part is here, so, and this part is here. So we are two old friends. We run into each other on the street. Okay. So unlike in the Western drama, that we will hug each other, the Beijing opera actors has been practicing social distancing from day one. So we'll practice social distancing. So in the Western opera, I'm going to hug you, okay? But I'm not going to hug you. I'm going to use my water slip to show how I'm so joyful to meet you on the street. So what I'm going to do, you can follow me. So I'm going to flip my, yes, so, okay. Okay, so you need to use your finger to hold this part a little bit. Okay, let's hold it. Yeah, it requires a lot of practice, so no problems. So we are going to do this. Oh, hi, so nice to see you again. Okay, let's see the down and flip. Yes, and then yes, and then we do like this, and then we do a circle 180 degrees. And you look at me, I look at you. So nice, and then very good. Okay, so that's how we run into our friends. And now I would like a male volunteer to try. Thank you. You can take this stuff. But you may keep it on to take pictures. No problem. Who would like to try an imperial guard's costume? Okay, but that's for men. Very good. So this is a reformed one, so it's not as. Oh, by the way, Louisa, I forgot to ask. Please ask online audience their estimated weight of an armor. What's your estimate of the armor? Weight of the armor. Okay, as I said that this is for men, it's for imperial guard. It's not as heavy because it's for demonstration purpose only. This is your trousers. Okay. So when you're on stage, you have to have underpants and high boots. But let me, okay, arm strip, okay. I'm good. By the way, I have already fully vaccinated. So my booster shot, so yeah. No problem. So this is
looking good. Want to go out on this night?
So as I said, this is because we designed the costume so to facilitate the movement. And if you have a full trouser, you cannot move around. Okay, so this is your trouser. Now you can do this, right? You can do this. It's easily you can move around, right? And then I'm going to put on the jacket for you. This is the imperial guard. Of course, it has all the dragon medallions here. Okay. And because you have to fight and use your weapons, so you don't have water sleeves. Otherwise, it's going to stand in your way. Okay. So let's do here. And why don't you face the audience? Okay. You're tall.
Thank you.
Okay, and then you have your this is also reformed. It's to protect your neck.
Oh, this is cool.
Okay. And finally, every costume will have its own helmet, hat, or crown. So this is your helmet. You're the god. Would you please see? Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to reach. Sorry, I'll have to.
It's okay.
Your hairstyle.
Yeah.
One day that an embassy official asked me whether I can lend my costume to them. I said, yes, but you need to borrow me also. You need to pay me $100. And they said, why? I said, without me, you don't know how to put them on. Stand up now. Now you're the imperial guard.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Your hand should be like you always stand facing this way. Okay, like this. No. This, yes, yeah. It's called 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. You're facing this way and then you twist your torso. Twist your torso. Yes. Okay, you twist your torso. And this hand here. Strength is yeah, okay. And this hand here. Yes, now you're imperial guard. Very good, good job. Okay. Okay, now let's move on.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Later you can try.
Yeah, I am. I'll make your daughter class.
So Louisa, I have guesses coming in for the armor weight. So I have 10 pounds, 30 pounds, 15 pounds.
The correct answer is 30 pounds.
30 pounds. Wow.
Jesus. I die. I don't think I could fight 30 pounds of weight. I would just go slow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move. Let's see this one. This is called. Just now we've seen some court robe, battlefield armor, and formal and informal robes. This one is called the Guanyi official robe. It is worn by the middle or lower level officials. And typically this one is for the best scholar of the country, first scholar of the country. You know, in ancient China, there is a system to select the candidates, to prepare the candidates to serve in the government as government officials. So we have this kind of general examination. A scholar, after become the Zhuangyuan, the first scholar, and then he has a bright future. So that's why this is worn by someone, the best scholar. In the story that I just told you at the beginning, the best scholar of the country helped the princess, you know, finally married to her lovebird. And we have a real person here, Professor Yang. Professor Yang was the best scholar in the Song Dynasty 1,000 years ago. He traversed 1,000 years here to become your professor, and this is him. Can you imagine? This is him. Yeah, about 4 years ago, right? We performed together this Beijing opera classics. I'm not joking. I am not joking. This is him. Okay. This is him. Yeah, okay. All right. And because of the time constraint, I'm not going to cover all the rest of the costumes. But I'm only going to point it out to you that this is the best scholar when he become the best scholar, and this is a scholar when he's still studying. So if you, it's for your guys, You're still in the university and you have different hat. Look, you have different hat, and this is it's already an official. He wears a hat called Zhongsha Loyalty. It's for loyalty, and it's black. And this one is just a scholar's hat. And you wouldn't imagine that a male scholar would wear pink, but pink here, it's not about gender, it's about the age. It's the young age, it's for young people. Okay, so before we leave this room for the next gallery, I have a question for all of you here and online. You know that Madame Elaine Chao is the very first Chinese American woman in the US cabinet, right? So if one day I'm going to put Madame Elaine Chao's legend through Beijing Opera on the Beijing Opera stage, which costume shall I select for her? She's going to make a presentation in the White House. Any guess? Whether we use formal robe, 靴子 informal robe, or Kao armor, or we use Mang court robe. Your choice. Court robe, okay. Formal. What else? This one, oh, this is for men. This is for men, not for women. Like I said, this you have the right clothing. For female, we have central clothing. We don't want people to see our neck. Any guess from the online audience? Mom. Mom. Okay, that's the right answer. Mom is the right costume for her to make a presentation in the White House because it's a very, very, very formal setting. Congratulations, you do listen to me. Thank you. Let's move to the next gallery. Here, I'm going to show you the settings of Beijing Opera stage. The Beijing Opera stage setting is very simple. Usually, there's only one table and two chairs. Depending on how you interact with this object, a table could be a bed, and the chair could be a hill. And this is consistent with the traditional Chinese art, because we always give room for you to imagine, for imagination. Do not want to throw you in with everything, so you need to use your imagination. For example, this curtain here indicates that there is a bed on the stage. You do not have a structural environment like doorways or bed, bed or all the other things. You have something for you to think about, because this kind of panel was frequently used in ancient China, hanging in front of a master bedroom's bed, either it's for privacy or for decoration. That's one thing. So it's very suggestive and symbolic, and think that that's one thing. And we do need to have some kind of action. What do we do? Then the actors epitomize the existence of such object. That's one thing. That's about the stage setting. Something more about the colors. Here you see a white color. It's a very different in the Western culture that you use white as a color of purity, right? You have bride wear white color, but this one in the Eastern culture, it means that this character is in the mourning of her family, so that's white color. And this one is also a Mang, which is a formal court robe, but it has no water sleeves. Why? Because in China, we have the Han is the main ethnic group. We have a lot of the minority ethnic group from the North Border, and they make a living on riding the horse and do a lot of hunting. So you see, the cuff is like a horse hoof. So that's why it still has the dragon figure indicating this is from the noble family, but because of the change of the sleeve and also the shape, you know, this is for ethnic minority. And also, I'd like to share with you that the Beijing Opera, because we have a lot of movement and it's fully consistent with Chinese culture. For example, if you're talking with a Chinese person, people that you seldom has direct answer directly, right? They always give you, oh, think about that, this and that, and give you something beating up around the bush. And this has been fully represented in Beijing Opera. For example, I'm going to look to the left, but before I look to the left, I'm going to look to the right. So I'm going to do this. This is how I look to the left. So that's a kind of representation about the culture thing. We, even without the actor and actress understanding or can realize that this is culture related, but all these designs are culture related. Okay, let's move to this section. This is the final section of this exhibition. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Beijing Opera's, kind of influence for the Chinese American people and beyond. As you know that Chinese opera has a lot of types. Beijing opera is one of them, it's a national treasure. But we also have Cantonese opera. We have Huang Mei opera from Eastern China. We have Shaoxing opera, and we'll have all sorts of opera. Back in 1849, a lot of Chinese laborers were here. And then because they made a lot of money, but there's still a lot of need to be immersed in the native culture. So some merchants see this is an area to make money, to make money. So there's a lot of people coming to the western coast of America and to build its own theaters. And then that's the start when we have the Chinese opera here, mainly to entertain, the Chinese community itself. But after 1930, when Dr. Meilan Fang introduced the Beijing opera, this situation completely changed. Not only Chinese American, but also non-Chinese Americans start to appreciate this art. And also in the last 4 decades, because of the China's opening door policy and because China and US enjoy a 4-decade-long honeymoon, many top-notch Chinese opera artists came to the US. That kind of triggered the mushrooming of the Beijing opera performing troupes and clubs in this country. So a lot of people, they want, either you are the immigrants with Chinese native or non-Chinese native, they see the needs to learn more about Beijing opera, about Chinese opera, because this is a way of communication. And I believe you agree with me that because the Beijing opera costumes here, what you have seen, it's a great tool of communication of character, culture, and history, right? Like the costume here, it is organized, it is classified by forms, and it's organized by occupation and position. It is dynasty blind, it's weather blind, it is year blind, or whoever, whenever you're going to present the story, you're going to use the same set of costumes. So that's why we have a lot of things, performing troupes. Some of the immigrants wanted to promote the philosophy of harmonious society. Some want to pass down the philosophical ethics to the next generation through the fun and the educational part of the Beijing opera. So that's about what I want to say today. And I hope you enjoyed today's exhibition, and I'm here to answer your questions. But before I do that, I have an online question for the audience, for online audience. I have projected 5 pictures a picture of 5 persons there. Which one is Louisa? Tell me. Which one is Louisa Huang? Any comments?
Still waiting for answers.
Okay, so let them think a little bit. So anyway, so when you think about answers, we can open up for questions from the audience, in-house audience, and also online. But I would really like to thank the CAMDC to giving me this specific opportunity to explore Beijing opera with so many new friends here today. My sincerest thanks goes to Louisa Sockness and Penny Yao, who contact me and make excellent arrangement to make this happen. Thank you very much. Now, David, the floor is yours. I'm here for questions and also for Professor Yang.
Thank you, guys. Thanks again. Thanks, Louisa, for her excellent presentation. Gives us an opportunity to appreciate the opera. And so our class ends at this time. Feel free to check us on other exhibits or take the day off and relax.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
So I have 5 or 1, 2. I guessed 5 as well, and you already told me no. So now we want to know, which one are you?
Okay. So whoever voted, okay, let's see. Okay. Louisa is number 1.
Ah,
You can guess, yeah.
that's so cool.
This is me. That's me. Yes. About, if it is really for the imperial family, it's about 2.5 years. Because it's hand in the.
Thanks for being a sport.
hand
That was awesome.
Wow, that's precious. We never wash
I
them.
guess.
Yeah.
We never wash them. We will keep very prevent the respiration.
What do you typically learn?
We have an undergarment, like you said, less expensive one than
Yeah.
formal robe.
Yeah.
And also have a strip to protect your the neck from damaging the collar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have a question. I think
Yes.
it's like really obvious, but are the sleeves just for the theater or did people actually wear them during that?
It is for the theater.
It's just for the theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for in the actual world, they have much longer, wide cut instead of narrow cut to show the status. People with higher status, they don't need to work, so
Yeah, they don't need to get
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
dirt. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But we do have a long sleeves in very early stage because long sleeves facilitate the dancing. Before then it was taken off.
So do you typically like wear it for like going to events?
Going to what?
Like at like events if you were to wear like the long sleeves?
Oh, yes, yeah. The long sleeves. 'Cause today I need to work, so it's a short sleeve.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I
You're welcome.
Can you give us a little tidbit of vocal?
Yeah, she just said this. Oh,
I know
yes.
you're not prepared, but just a slight little demo.
Okay. So at the request of Louisa Sockness, I'm going to do a demo. This one, the princess. Let's see. This is I'm so happy going to the hall because today I'm going to meet my prince in Charles.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks, Louisa. Appreciate you. Our online audience is beyond emphatic about everything you've done today. So thank you. And thanks everyone for coming today. And as David said, this will all go online. We'll send out a YouTube link for this to send around to your friends and family if they weren't able to join us. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.